It's all political, guys. The whole narcissism and empaths thing is political. Let's not bullshit ourselves. We live in times of change. Huge, rapid changes are happening in politics, in businesses, in our personal relationships. So, all the spread of narcissistic knowledge, it is political. I'm not a therapist nor psychiatrist, so I don't have to be politically correct, but it is all political. Lots of us see that. Not too many of us talk about it because it's a triggering topic, and these days you have lots of those bots, etc., attacking you, hating you on the internet. But it is political. Some political groups are very narcissistic. So, for example, Trump supporters, very narcissistic group, very delusional group, cannot admit any lies. Tons of lies, hundreds of lies, but they live in delusional world. They deny climate change. They are scapegoating minorities. They are scapegoating, immigrants, etc. They show lack of empathy. They live in delusional world. They cannot admit lies. They cannot admit facts. They are anti-intellectual. They hate facts. They hate science. They, make up some theories like conspiracy theories. They rather live in conspiracy theorist world than accept facts. So it is all political. Conservatives these days, in my opinion, not only mine, lots of people see that clearly, that conservatives, far-right people, are people who represent narcissists. Also, far-left people represent narcissism. People who go to politics just for fame, just for, personal gains, just, sticking, catching all those humanitarian, concepts, we do this for humanitarian thing, but they are just, there for the fame. They are destroying works of art, paintings, just for the fame. This is how a narcissist acts, actually. But I'm not so afraid of the left-wing people, because they do not do so much harm. Maybe instead of destroying the, history, the cultural works of humanity, but they go there for fame. So I believe these days the narcissists are represented mostly by conservatives, by right-wing people who cannot admit facts. They don't like to talk. They won't admit any failure. They live in delusional world of lies. They lean towards authoritarianism. They want to move back to some, paradise time in human history, when there were kings, there was monarchy, but they lack any knowledge about history, actually. So it is all political. The change is happening on all levels. I believe in empaths. I believe in liberals, people who have empathy, people who are accepting, people who want to create better world for humanity, people who actually live, represent those values of empathy, those values of respecting other people. Right wings are scapegoating all the minorities. So yes, we live in turbulent times. And historians also say that this is like a consensus of historian people, that the history has its periods of peace and periods of warfare. And they estimated that the periods of peace last like 60 up to 80 years. And the periods of warfare are like next, and they last 20 years. So I believe we are now in some kind of warfare. Many people call it spiritual warfare. We feel the tension. We feel the fights. The conflicts in Ukraine, in Middle East, the conflicts, informational conflict, the spiritual war in politics. There's a lot of tension. I believe thanks to informational times and the internet, it won't spread too much, for example, to another world war. But we live in times of conflict. Now, in my opinion, it's time for liberals to gather, to connect, to help each other, to support each other, to help other liberals, empaths grow. I believe, because this is like intellectuals and historians' observation that liberals have hard time to connect. For example, liberals enjoy times of peace, and they are just living their lives. They do not get into groups. This is a survival mechanism of the far right. For example, they have better survival mechanism, so they get into groups easily because they feel that they are threatened, by the changing world, or by the spread of liberal values. They feel threatened because their time is just is ending. So they feel that the time of those far right concepts is ending. So they gather into groups. This is better survival mechanism. I believe that liberals, not only me, this is a consensus of historians, that liberals gather into groups in periods, of war, for example, in hard periods. Then liberals decide to get into groups. So I believe that this is the time for us liberals to connect. Also, the paradigm of relationships is changing. In times of peace, people were from spiritual standpoint, people were experimenting with relationships. So you can say that the opposites attract, right? It was like in boomers' days that opposites attract. Yeah, people went to relationships just for fun, for contrast, for chemistry. Yeah, but in times of warfare, in the hard times, the paradigm of relationships is changing from opposites attract to people looking for their own tribe, people looking for support, people looking for others to see them, to share their values. That's how the paradigm of relationships is changing. So for us, what to do? We have to learn how to surround ourselves with people of similar values, with people with similar spiritual awareness, with people with similar political views, with similar vision for the future. So now is the time to learn your values. Now is the time to form new relationships, to get into some groups, to build some communities. Now is the time. So yeah, for that I'm building. I already built, but it's like a beginning stage, an application. It's already on iPhone. It's called Empaths. It's like Twitter, combined with some dating apps, etc. So you can download, if you have an iPhone, an Empaths app. You can also go to empathsplanet.com. There's a web version of this application. And I'm trying to build some community around, empathic people aware of the narcissism, people politically aware also, people who feel the need to connect to others, to find some new, for example, support groups, new families even, because we know, the story of a scapegoat, how lonely lots of people are these days. That this is the transition time, the time of the huge change, huge rapid changes around the world. It's big opportunity for the better. Each crisis is just an opportunity. It's just a switch, shift. It's just a shift. Big shift is happening. Yes, it's hard. We feel that, but there's also a huge hope around this crisis, around this shift. See you guys on the channel.